Attention passengers, this is your conductor speaking. We are about to arrive at the hesitation station. Please mind your step as you enter the station.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Hesitation Station podcast. We really appreciate you guys coming on here and just listening to us and giving us your time. I am Jay, along with my ugly ass co-host Tank.
Boy, don't make me come over there. I'm gonna drop that elbow on you.
Oh, you gonna do the people's elbow? Let's do it. Let's go. No, I'm just kidding, guys. We have a very special episode today, and we are going to try our best to stay as professional as possible. As you can see, I'm representing the Akatsuki cloak, because I look fly. Right, Tank? Right.
Sure.
Okay, sure.
I think as nice as you look, I think there's one guy that can pull it off even better than you. I'm gonna bring him in right now. Mr. Michael Yurchak.
Oh,
snap.
I can't believe it. Kidding.
Kidding. I told you he could pull it off better than you.
How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm good. What? I don't believe it. Kidding.
Look, it is so exciting to have you on here. I greatly appreciate you giving us this opportunity.
Oh man, Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
We are excited. Most people already know I work at a liquor store, and I've been telling people, like, dude, because a lot of people are nerds over here, but they don't want to show it. And I'm like, hey, guys, I got like Obito coming on my stuff on my podcast. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, never thought in a million years that would happen.
Awesome.
Yeah, if you had told me in January we'd be doing this at the end of May, I'd be like, no, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But it's been a blast. So enough about us. How have you been? How are things going on your end?
Things are going well. So we met at the Huntsville Comic-Con, right?
Yes, sir.
That was a big one, and there've been a couple since then. I've been out there doing a little bit of the circuit. I don't do as many cons as some, but I do at least one a month, and sometimes a couple more than that. I just got back from Anime Arizona, and in maybe 3 weeks from now, I'm going to the Greater Austin Comic-Con.
Nice.
And somewhere just after that, there's the new Obito Pop is coming out. I think they're shooting for August for that. Yeah, that it'll be it's the sort of the maskless Obito instead right when the reveal happens. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Jay, we're gonna have to
insight. Yeah, I already got the I got the one where
the Madara one, the Madara.
Yeah, the Madara one with the two Rinnegan and Sharingan. Yeah, I got that one. The one I really have trouble getting is the Minato one. I don't know why. It's just really hard to get.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm having trouble even picturing that one in my head. I know the ones that I'd be connected. Really, the only one I'm connected to right now is straight up Tobi, and then there's a new Madara Tobi, which is the Tobi with the Sharingan, which is like essentially like right when the change happens, and then they're doing the Obito next, which is exciting.
Now, wasn't there one about the masked man?
So I think they were. I think, and I'm sure they still are considering doing one with the mask as the masked man. And so, but this is that body with the head of Obito without the mask, which, to be honest, so that when Toby and the Masked Man are impersonating Madara, they use Neil Kaplan, the voice of Madara, as that voice. So even though it's like, sort of I'm the character, but not the character, so those pops, theoretically or technically speaking, are more his than mine. Sometimes, people bring them to me sometimes at cons. I want me to sign them or whatever, and I'm always happy to do that. But I always have to give the disclaimer that the great Neil Kaplan actually voices this part of the character. So that's why I'm happy. Not that it's a pleasure to share it with him, but I'm happy that the new Obito is coming out, which is just me. It's all mine.
Hey, if I meet you again at a con, I will buy that pop and I will get you to sign it, and I will pay it this time. Okay, I'm going to pay it this time. But yeah, we have wanted to reach out to Neil Kaplan at some point to get him on here as well, because it would be awesome to have him on here, just to have the two, Madara and Obito. That would be awesome.
Sure.
And
he's a real nice fella. I'm sure he'd be he'd be happy to. He's got such a deep following, especially on TikTok, that you just be patient. But I'm sure if you reached out to him eventually, he's pretty great about getting back to everybody. So he is someone, though, right now, I'll say that he does cons just about every weekend at the moment. So he's kind of nonstop traveling. So he's hard to pin down. But stay with it, because you'll get him.
Hey, I got you. I'm happy.
There we go.
I'm happy.
There we go.
So let me ask you a little bit about yourself, because I know I follow you on Instagram, or at least I do, and I know that I've seen some pictures of you going fishing, stuff like that. Let's hear about you. Let's hear about Michael.
Oh, that's a sweet question. Well, yeah, so I've got two boys. I've got a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old, and my wife and I and the two of them live in California, and we love the outdoors. So we get out as much as possible. We go surfing and snowboarding and fishing and camping. A lot. So you often, when I'm not, we also we go to concerts a lot. I love going to see live music. When I'm not working, when I'm not, going to a con or working on a project or whatever, we try to do, something fun every weekend, just to, everybody works real hard during the week. So we try to blow it out a little bit on the weekend, which is nice. And, so this past weekend, I saw, you guys might appreciate this, I don't know, a guy from Kentucky, which I know is not Alabama or Mississippi, but I feel like it's in the same food group. I went and
Close
saw,
enough.
Close enough.
Have you ever heard of a guy called Billy Strings? You know who that
Yes,
is? He's a bluegrass picker. He's a great guy. He's great.
Was he
great
playing?
player. Yeah, so I saw him on Friday night. I saw him at the Greek here in California, here in Los Angeles, and it was awesome. I had never seen him live before, and it was just amazing. They played for like 2.5. He played for 2.5 hours, and he never took a break during the intermission. He played 2 sets. During the intermission, he stayed out on stage and just kept and played by himself, while everybody else in the band took a break for 15-20 minutes and then came back out again. And it was just like, it was amazing.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
Wait, he's over here. Yeah, this guy right here. He's the concert guy. I am the con guy. Yeah, and he goes
September 3rd. I'm going to Atlanta. Death Clock and Baby Metal are playing at Coca-Cola something.
Cool.
Over in Atlanta.
Nice. Yeah, it's great. So I love doing that stuff, and and I play guitar myself, and do a little bit of that and so on. And then I do a lot of teaching. So I somewhere along the line, I went back to grad school for acting, and while I was there, I was asked to teach a course for undergraduates, and I loved doing it, and I also felt like it kind of made me feel more comfortable and confident in my own process, my own the way I do things, and so I've kind of done both things ever since. So it's sort of a parallel career. So I went back and got my doctorate after my master's. I'm Dr. Yurchak.
Oh,
And
Dr. Michael.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I've got the title for the episode now.
Yeah, that's right.
The doctor is in.
The doctor is in. Very nice. Very nice. But so I do an awful lot of that. Between all those things, it keeps me pretty busy. And as I say, I do cons probably once or twice a month. And I just wrapped up a season of a new show or a show that's been on for a while, but it feels like it's catching some traction now, called Bungo Stray Dogs. Which I
haven't watched it. I've heard of it.
It's pretty cool.
I'm gonna have to look into that now.
Yeah, it starts. It's cool, and it just got a whole lot cooler, is what I'll say. We've done 4 episodes. The 5th is about to drop, and four seasons. The 5th is about to drop, and it got nasty in a hurry. It was yeah. I didn't understand that. I won't give too many spoilers because this one's literally coming out as we speak. But it went, from my part anyway, went from being like very much part of the exposition. Like I was sort of used as a placeholder. Before, at the beginning of every episode, the end of every episode, 3 guys talk about what just happened in a bar and kind of go over the different things. I think just to help clarify what's happening. And that I was one of those guys, happy to do it, but it wasn't exactly super exciting stuff. Just like calmly talking about all the different things that were going on. But then in the last season, I step out from behind the bar and kick some ass, and it's fun.
You go from just sitting there drinking a beer to full on getting in there.
Yeah. So it's good.
And the animators are gonna be like, he signed an NDA and he went on a podcast and told people.
I think we're safe because the movie tells a story too. So it's
definitely gonna check it out. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Now
I've never heard of it.
What's it on? Netflix or Hulu or?
That's a great question. I don't know what platform it's on. But Bungo Stray Dogs is what it's called. We can probably figure it out here before the time is done. But
ain't nothing a little research can't handle.
That's right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I guess my next question for you is the most basic one, and I'm sorry you probably answer this a lot. What got you into the voice acting era? Because you just said that you got a doctorate degree, you play guitar, you do a lot of outdoorsy stuff. Where did voice acting come into there?
Sure. Well, so I was an actor first. I did a lot of theater. I was a theater major in college and so on. And I still do a fair amount of theater. I do some on-camera stuff, movies and television and that kind of commercials, that kind of thing. And I'd always done and loved doing characters, voices and different, taking on different persona for sketch comedy, or even a lot of the roles I get. Actually, I often will be asked to either do an accent or have sort of a departure from just me, which is really has always been so fun for me to do. And at some point, it actually had never really occurred to me that to think about voiceover, but way back around 1999 or so, somebody at a show of mine, it was a comedy show that I did I did a bunch of different characters in this one show. Someone was like, "You should do voiceover, man. You should do cartoons and stuff." And I was like, yeah, I never really thought about it. I don't know. I don't know how to do it. And they're like, "Well, you should do it." Well, I was lucky enough at that point. I had already been working in the business for 5 or 6 years. doing commercials and on camera stuff. So I was in the union, and I had an agent already. These are things that are typically kind of tough for new actors to kind of big hurdles to cross.
Yeah.
But I'd already had that stuff, and so I had an obvious person to ask, which was my agent, and I just said, like, look, I'd love to try to do animation or voiceover work. Is there a way for me to start doing that? And she said, look, there's no reason why you couldn't do that with us, but it is a pretty specific skill, and we recommend you take a class. So I did. And it was probably an 8-week class with a casting director here in LA. And at the end of it, I basically just put it to her, and I said, do you think, should I pursue this? And she was like, she was really enthusiastic, really kind. This woman's named Carol Kimball, and she is sort of has been an LA fixture in voiceover casting for a long time. And she just was really supportive, and actually helped me sort of piece together a demo, and then really kind of marched it right into not only the agency that was already representing me, but a different agency that was actually a little stronger in voiceover. And they both offered to sign me. I chose to do the one that was stronger. And the funny thing is, so they were my very first agency. I eventually ended up moving to New York, and they helped place me with an agency in New York. And then I moved back to LA. And when I moved back to LA, the New York people placed me with a different agency. So I'd kind of said goodbye to them at one point. But the new joint that I had been with in LA decided they only wanted to represent sort of celebrities, like big time celebrities.
Yeah.
So they closed what's called their scale department, which is just like basically, sort of workaday actors like me and most of the people you see out in the cons and all of that. And so I was kind of a man without a country for a minute, and I reached back out to my very first guys, and they welcomed me back with open arms. And so I'm back with them again. It's a place called Vox, and they are, they're great, and they get me the opportunities, and then it's up to me to try to book the gigs. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but hopefully, it's like enough to make it happen. So that's the long story. Is it's a part of a bigger whole, but voiceover, from the minute I started it, it's been the part of my career that's made the most sense. I consistently book. I've had an opportunity to do lots of stuff in kind of all the different parts of it, commercials and audio books and narration stuff, and movie trailers and all of that. And then when I started getting the chance to do animation and anime specifically, it just kind of unlocked something that turned out to be I think it's just like my groove. I just totally love it. So there you go.
You're good at it.
Yeah, I think he'd agree with you. The whole time leading up to this, he's like, oh my God, Obito's going to be here. And he's like, oh, I'm getting so nervous. And I just mess with him like, hey, Jay, T-minus 24 hours until the interview. Mm-hmm. He's like, shut up.
I mean, you got to think, growing up watching Naruto and then having Obito come in, and you're just like, oh, dude, I thought he died. And I know Vic Mignogna played the younger voice. Yeah. And then you came in, and then you're not like somebody that came in and just went away. You were somebody that came in for a whole fourth Great Ninja War. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I've heard you growing up. So it was more, it's just hard to not be a fan, So
well, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Now, before I forget, because I will forget, because I have ADHD really bad. You said you're with Vox Studios. Is that the same people that represent Steve Bloom as well?
I don't know if Steve is there. He might be. Let's see. Steve Bloom, voiceover agent. Did you speak to Steve? Do you know?
Yeah. Well, actually, I did reach out to him, and his agent was so sweet, so nice. She's like,
Do you
"Hey,
remember what her name was?
um, it was
Was it
I can't.
Michaela? Michaela by any chance, or no?
No, it was like a foreign name, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But she
Um,
just basically said that he has a lot of requests and he couldn't come on. I was like, okay,
yeah,
that's understandable.
sure. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you, who, because uh, I don't know who represents him.
Huh.
Again, you can dig
Well,
that out.
it's fine. I just nothing about that. This is your thing. I just wanted to know that if you guys have worked together before more than
Well, yeah,
anything.
we have, and
Yeah.
then and his wife Mary Elizabeth
Mhm.
also directed an awful lot of episodes of Naruto. So
Really?
he's basic. I mean, he's on sort of almost everything ever. So
Yeah.
anything I'm on, probably he's on too.
Yeah.
With voiceover, we don't always meet one another.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we record. Almost always we record in isolation, like by ourselves.
Mhm.
But his wife was one of the directors that handled a lot of episodes of Naruto and a bunch of the video games as well. So I know her very well, and then as a result, I know him. But I actually just had the pleasure of shaking his hand and sort of and letting him know that I was not only. I told him, I'm trying to act like I'm your colleague right now, but really I'm your fan,
Yeah.
that I met him at WonderCon in San Diego, which I think was after I met you guys, either
Yeah.
just after or just before, but pretty recently. And though I had met him before, he didn't remember meeting me, and so it was kind of
Oh.
fun to do. No, it was fine, totally fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, he meets so many people,
I
all the
mean,
time.
couldn't say the same for you. You go to cons and you meet so many people,
That's
you
true.
know.
That's true.
There's look, man.
Mhm.
I know it didn't seem like it, but when you signed my autograph for me at Huntsville and you did the voice and you're like, look at me. And I walked off and like I know I was like stone faced like this and I just smiled. But as I walked off, I
It,
told Tank, I was like, he did the line. He did the line. And I was just
it was
I
like a little
mean,
schoolgirl. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Well, I'm
so
happy.
we're gonna go away from the embarrassment real quick.
Well, speaking of all that, before we got on, I was just going back through seeing like everything that you've done, and you're in two of my favorite things. I didn't realize that you were in The Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
You voiced Viper, which blew me away, and then you're in hands down one of my favorite movies, The Slammin' Salmon with Love Dread people.
Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, no way. And I went and I looked through and he played Jamie the Lion Chef. And I was like, oh my God, that is him. I've watched that movie so many times.
That is so funny. That's a deep cut. So those guys, the guys that make those movies, they're called Broken Lizard,
Yeah.
and they all went to the same college, and they were sort of big brothers to me. They were about 5 years older than me, 4 years older than me, and they've always been kind enough to kind of put me in just about everything they've done. So uh, most recently. Super Troopers 2 came out a few
Mhm.
years ago, and I've got a good meme in that about the key to the key to life is happiness in your household. But that if you Google happiness in your household, the meme that comes up, you'll see it. It's funny and it's R-rated and it's and I'm my wife and I are flabbergasted because with the Canadian French accents, Happiness in Your Household sounds like something very different. So you can check that out. And the newest movie called Quasi just dropped actually about 3 weeks ago on 420, bro. And so on that one, I play the Pope's priest, and I do an exorcism. It's one sort of short, sweet scene, but then also they all do accents in that movie. So they hired me as the dialect coach. So I taught them, I worked with them on getting and then maintaining a consistency with the accent, and that's in graduate school that kind of became my specialty. So they knew that I did that, and they figured they could use some help with it, and so they were cool enough to ask me to do that. So I put in a bunch of time on both sides of the camera on that one, which was great. But yeah, I'm glad you like it. And the Slam and Salmon is, like, I would say Slam and Salmon and Club Dread are probably the two least watched Broken Lizard movies. I'm in both of them. And it's super fun that's a favorite of yours. I'll tell those guys. I'm going to see them in just a couple of days, actually. So yeah.
That is awesome. Well, I've watched the first one that I watched, Super Troopers, and then Beer Fest came out and they hooked me. I've watched from Club Dread, Slam and Salmon, Beer Fest. I've been waiting for Beer Fest too, or at least Marijuana Fest.
We call it Weed Fest. Yeah. That I think the next thing that's going to happen is probably a Super Troopers 3. Beer Fest, in Beer Fest, I'm Raj Gobshire, one of the British on the British team there. The only one of their movies that I'm not in, ironically, is the original Super Troopers, and in that one, they asked me to do it, but at the time we were just kids, and I would have had to fly myself back from Los Angeles back to New York, and I couldn't afford it. It was like, the plane ticket was $600 and I had 400 in the bank. And so I couldn't do it. And so I didn't go. And it's just a bummer because, of course, that's really the one that put them on the map. And then ever since, I mean, there are other movies. Super Troopers 2, I think, is really, really popular, but everybody knows them for Super Troopers. And it's
yeah, between that one and like I said, Beer Fest, that's what got me hooked. And then I delved back into their discography.
Yeah,
looked back at everything that I could find, and I've been a huge fan of Broken Lizard since.
Yeah, cool.
Like, as soon as Super Troopers 2 came out, I had a ticket and was in line, ready to go.
Awesome. Well, yeah, those guys are, as I say, they're real good friends of mine, all of them. So, and actually, three of us, our kids are all going to go to college together back at the place where we went to college. We all went to Colgate University in upstate New York, and so Jay and Kevin are both of their kids and my son are all going to go together. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. See, that's something I like to hear. People you kind of grow up with, things get big and everything goes well, but y'all still manage to stick together.
Yeah,
years.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and those guys are great that way too. It's, I mean, it is sort of a family, and all of the like most of their crew, the sound guy, this guy David has been their the head of their sound department since their very first thing, which is called Puddle Cruiser, way back in the early '90s, and and there are a lot of us that have been around for a long time. And Kevin's younger brother Pat is their key grip, so he's like, and actually on Quasi he got a producer credit as well. So he's been he's their guy, and on Tacoma FD, which is the spin-off TV show. Kevin's uncle, who was a firefighter for a while, was like their firefighting consultant, and it's amazing. They keep it close to home, which is awesome.
My wife actually found Tacoma FD, and I walked in from work. She was watching it. I was like, "What is that?" And then I saw Jay, and I saw Farva.
Yeah,
and I was like, "I know him." Yep, I'm watching.
Yeah,
we binged it, watched all of it. We're waiting on the new season now.
On that one, I play Ken Walters. I'm the neighborhood app reporter.
Nice.
So I think I'm in 5 episodes, sort of sprinkled throughout the 4 seasons, I guess.
Well, I'm gonna have to print one out and get you to autograph it the next time.
Yeah.
I just know Super Troopers. I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right. All right. Just watch Super Troopers 2. If you like Super Troopers, watch Super Troopers 2.
I've seen Super Troopers 2. Yep.
Oh, you have. All right. So I'm the then you know me. Happiness.
Yep.
Oh,
what's that? We got a new flyer to come up with. So
I'll get it handled.
Yeah, I know you will. But I will. I guess this is going back. I'm not trying to go back on you here by any means, but I guess this is more of questions for you for like
Sure.
For your voice acting wise.
Mm-hmm.
So I know when I met you in Huntsville that you said I asked you, did you ever get emotional playing the Obito character? And you told me when Naruto and him were talking, that was something you were emotional with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie to you. I really did not expect that answer because I thought it would be more of, him and Kakashi battling it out. Yeah. And, you said that you guys mainly do Solitude. So did you ever get to have any kind of like lunch or meet Dave Rittenberg?
Well, while we were recording, no, but then recently, because of the cons, he just this year he started doing them again, and I really just started doing them a year ago. So we have met a bunch of times, and totally hit it off, and he's great, and his wife comes with him on the cons, and they're both just such sweet people, and so we've talked a lot about the stuff, and it's funny. He said the nicest thing the other day on a panel. Somebody asked about what it was like to play those big dramatic scenes, and I guess I didn't know this, but I guess I recorded my side before he did. And because I had already recorded it, they played my half of the scene for him to feed him into his performance in the scene. And he just, he's very complimentary and sweet about it. And also just said, during that whole scene, it was easy to get emotional because he could feel the emotion coming from the Obito side of it. And that was great. I didn't have that luck, so I just, I sort of, the director, in the moment described loosely what was going on, and I just went for it,
Yeah.
But from that point in the show to the very end, all of it is so dramatic. Yeah. I feel like personally, the ending where Obito is essentially sacrificing himself. So he's already then kind of gone back into the second stage of the Six Paths, and he sort of has ingested the 10 tails and is like, has turned white, and then he turned black, and then he's like and he's like, now he's like flaking into nothing. And it's like that whole time, it's all about him recognizing and realizing that what he did, what he thought was the right thing to do, was fueled entirely by his own rage and by his own pain and by his own fear. And he makes amends and corrects, and recognize, like, he realizes he was wrong. He admits it, and then he fixes it, and he sacrifices himself, takes out the 10 tails, and saves the universe. And it's like, it's like, it just doesn't get any bigger than that, And I love that it's that the redemption story of it all basically is the act of the Hokage. And so that, in the end, like, Naruto, you better become a Hokage, You know, it's like that moment is like, you know, he should have become Hokage.
Yeah.
But Naruto becomes Hokage, and that's the act of the Hokage is to hand it over. And it's just I just loved it. You know, it just was like, oh my God, this is the baddest ass of badass. And you know, and I get to say it.
So, pass the torch on to the next generation. So
yeah.
You're gonna get a lot of compliments from me, so you might as well get used to that.
Yeah, it's like you're doing an interview with your number one super fan.
Pretty much. Because I will tell you, you have done great doing voice acting because I felt it during the fight with you and Kakashi. I felt it when Obito changed. I felt it when he changed into the Ten Tails. I mean, you're such a good actor. I mean, I could hear it through your voice. And that's why I'm a fan of you, because like if I can't get involved into a animated fight, I don't care what anybody says, if I can't get involved and it's just like, oh, this is just another anime fight. I mean, you know, you're doing something right. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
No problem.
It's you know, the story is epic. The fights are giant. You know, the characters are awesome. You know, a lot of the framework is right there for you. And then it is the kind of thing where it's like, you know, it feels like real acting, you know, and not to say that cartoons aren't that. They're their own thing, but those fights were as close to, I guess, what it feels like to be honestly on stage as anything I've ever done in the voice world. And so, you know, getting to do that kind of dramatic work is like, you know, it's for an actor, it's just like it's the stuff you're waiting for, you know, it's the good stuff. Right. So I appreciate it, man.
Now, no problem. I've got to ask this: out of everything that you've done between the voice acting and the actual movies, like Slam and Salmon and I Heart Shaky, what if you had to pick one? Like we know Jalen's favorite is Obito. What would have been your favorite one that you've done so far?
Well, I mean, you know, it's hard to pick a favorite. What I'll say though is that the Obito and Tobi, you know, they are the most present in my life. First of all, we did, you know, I started doing Tobi in I think 2007. So that's an awfully long time, 15 years or 16 years to be doing and you know, because we just recorded another video game. So it's like I've been doing this work for almost my whole career, you know, not quite, but a long time. 16 years is a long time. And I've always done it. I started doing it and have always done it just because I love it. We don't make an awful lot of money. I have to, like, not to be crass, but like, you know, doing anime dubbing it's a very modest contract. You do it because you love it. Like that's just the long and the short of it. It's not, it's like doing theater. It's you know, you do theater because you love it. You can't do theater because you want to get rich, at least not in Los Angeles. But so I did it for so long because I loved it so much, as we all did. And that it has come back around now in the form of being invited to cons and to come on podcasts and to have fans of the show show some I don't know, happiness and share in the sort of the love at those kinds of events, and this kind of thing is so totally unexpected and so totally appreciated. Like I can't tell you how grateful I am for this part of my career, because it is utterly not something I planned for or needed. But God, do I like it? You know, and it's just like, it just is such a it's such a gift. It's such a gift. I just can't even express how much I just feel so lucky. I feel so lucky. And though I have had roles, you know, doing doing cartoons and movies and TV and so on that I've really enjoyed, and in the theater, you know, played some big important, you know, for people who care about that stuff, you know, parts. I'd be hard pressed to say that Tobi and Obito aren't my favorites, basically because they are so much a part of my life. You know, I mean, I talk about them, think about them, uh, do lines from them. You know, I've got tons of swag all over my office here and in my closet inside, and I travel a couple times a month. Basically, in almost, I would say 95% of what I do at cons is for Naruto. So, you know, I think they get the prize. But I also, you know, there have been a lot of great ones. I love it all. I mean, honestly, it's any actor pretty much will tell you the work is the hustle. The work is auditioning. The work is, you know, figuring out how to make contacts, getting stuff together, creating opportunities. That's the hard part. The job, it's like when we book gigs and actually get to do it, whether it's in the booth or in front of the camera or on stage or whatever, that's the stuff that's just like, it's the dream. It's the, you know, it's everything we ever wanted since we were little kids. And so, you know, that's the part we do for free. But as it works out, it's like, you know, you do all the hard stuff for free, and then you get, you know, you get paid a little something for the, you know, for the stuff that's great. So, yeah. Anyway, that's my long answer for that question.
You got to go through the hustle and bustle before you can get that icing on the cake.
That's right. That's right. And the thing is, and honestly, I really do feel like you got to do it. You got to do it because you love it. Because it's just too hard, man. It's just too hard. You know, it's the percentages are not with you. So if you're not doing it because you love it, you're gonna burn out, and that's okay. You know, there's no shame in that, and you know, it's happened to a lot of great people, and hopefully whoever tries and then decides to do something else, they find something else they're passionate about. But that's always my advice. Somebody said the other day, and I love this too, it's like the best acting advice I can give you is show up on time, learn your lines, and be nice to everybody. You know, and the best, and as far as like the best idea for a career, it's, you know, do it because you love it and let everything else happen the way it's supposed to, because you can't control it. You know, never in my life would I've imagined, you know, just like you guys said earlier in the show, I couldn't have possibly imagined that I'd be doing a podcast, you know, 16 years after getting this gig, you know, around this time of the year in 2007. You know, it's just insane. I couldn't have imagined my life, you know, then. I've got another kid and a whole bunch of animals, and you know, like, so
nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing from your answer, oh my bad, what I'm hearing from your answer is you don't get tired of fan people like me that freak out when I talk to you.
What kind of a jerk would I be if I got tired of that? You know, it's like the day, you know, Brian Donovan, who plays Rock Lee, and we're good friends. We've known each other for a long time, and sort of see things in I'd like to think similar ways. He's a great person, like a great person. He makes me want to be a better person, really. But he and I have started joking around about this. We both started doing cons around the same time, and we joke around all the time together, just saying, you know, listen, if you ever catch me complaining about this, just punch me in the face. You know,
sounds like me and Tank.
He played Rock Lee throughout the whole series.
Through the whole thing, yeah, exactly. And then I think they had a whole spin-off too, like Rock Lee.
Yeah, Rock Lee and Friends, something like that.
In my opinion, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from Obito. Rock Lee had one of the most iconic scenes in all of Naruto during the Chunin exams when he fought Gaara.
Yeah.
And it was, what can I take? You can take the weights off. Really? And then I'm sitting there like, there's nothing, that's no. And then just a big dust cloud. I'm like, oh, all right then. And he just started zipping around.
Yep, that's everybody's. When people talk about the best fights, that's always one of them. Yeah. Anyway, we are like sort of in this gratitude club, and we both sort of remind each other, and remind ourselves all the time how lucky we are, and we're here for it every step of the way. So yeah, no, believe me that it's my honor, my absolute honor. And that sounds almost cliche, but I really mean it, and I don't know how else to say it. Is that if I was allowed, the fact that I was able and given permission to be part of something that has made a difference in somebody else's life is like, I can't even begin to express how much that moves me and makes me feel grateful and humble and all the rest of it. Because there are hundreds of characters in this series. There are hundreds of people that have gone into the production and the writing and the animation and the broadcasting and so on. And that some of us have had the opportunity to be sort of singled out and recognized on behalf of the show is just, I mean, I know I've been on the other side of it too many times to not recognize how it's lucky that I got to do that. And so as much as I'd like to think that I did my job well and I tried my hardest to do that, I also know that there are a lot of other talented people who could have done it too, and I just happened to be the guy in the booth that day. So, yeah, man, I'm all about it. Thank you.
Well, we're glad you are.
Yeah.
And going off of that, I feel like we're lucky as well because, I mean, with Naruto and with a lot of the other shows out there, it gives people something to, I guess, relate to. Because you see, like, if you sit down and watch Naruto or Rurouni Kenshin or just anything, you can go through each episode and find the story in it. Struggling with something, you'll overcome it if you keep trying. Or if people are putting you down, hey, that's how they feel. Don't let it get to you. And I'm sure a lot of people out there would probably agree with me that even though they're cartoons, so to speak, there are life-changing stories hidden within. All you have to do is look.
Oh yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
I will say this, and this is by no means a sob story. I wanted to be a voice actor since I was 12, since I was in middle school, and I gave up on that dream because it was just really hard. It was difficult. I mean, I would be in the mirror practicing, everything I could. At one point, I practiced Optimus Prime. I practiced Arnold Schwarzenegger, all these regular stuff, and I just ended up giving up on it because I didn't have, I guess, the drive. And if you lose that drive, it's kind of what you just said, and then you just burn out on it. So with that being said, it's more of, you got to keep that drive. You got to keep it going. And look, I've been to a lot of cons. I'm sure you have too, but every single voice actor that I've ever met, and I've met a lot of them, have been completely nice because they're pretty much the same mindset. They're like, well, I never thought in a million years that I would be still doing this 16, 15, sometimes 20 years later. But here we are. And I met Chris Sabat. I've met Caitlin Glass. I've met you. I've met Miley. I mean, every single person has been good. The only, I guess, bad person I had was wrestlers, and I don't meet wrestlers anymore. So I stay in my lane with voice actors now. And you can ask Tank here. We had a game where I would play a clip whenever they would come over to my house, and I would be like, okay, who is this? And they would be like, I don't know. And I would be the one to tell them who it is because I can recognize. Because when I was younger, I studied the people that did it. So I would immediately be like, oh, no, this is Chris Abbott. And they're like, how the hell could you tell that? I'm like, dude, I just know his voice. Like, I mean, that's just how I am. So I'm really happy to hear that you're, after what, 16 years, you're still very nice, very humble. You love, people fanning like me, myself, over, the people you've done. And that keep that mentality, because if you would have told me or Tank that you're going to be sitting here interviewing a voice actor, or your podcast is going to be raising money for charity, which by the way we will be doing that here shortly, I would have thought you were crazy, but we are here. So
well, thank you for saying that. And also, don't sell yourself short. What you are doing, you're sitting behind a microphone talking right now. So you're doing voiceover. And, it never say die. That's the thing, is like I think in the entertainment industry, especially, the sort of the route from A to B is sometimes pretty circuitous, like you sometimes have to go to, D, E, and F before you get back around to B. And it doesn't always look like you thought it would, but there are different ways to get in, and there are different ways to find your niche, and there are a lot of different, lanes, as you say, to play from. And voiceover is not limited to doing funny voices. Voiceover is not limited to playing characters that are far, far away from you. And that's something that I'm sure you can do. And but you don't need to do Optimus Prime or Arnold Schwarzenegger, because those guys already exist.
right.
You keep doing it, keep caring about it, find some scripts to either audition for or to play around with, write your own stuff. But it's giving voice to a two-dimensional thing on a page and bringing it into a third dimension is such a privilege and such a fun artistic piece of expression that never say die on it. That's my advice, is just and you're patient, and I just want to point it out that you guys are awesome. You're doing this thing, you are raising money for charity. That's an incredible thing, and it's such an important thing, especially in this day and age. It's a lot of and in this business, frankly, which is very me oriented. It's a tough part of the business. And for me, I really have tried a lot to remind myself of that, and to steer away from focusing on the me so much. Right. And so I'm proud to be on your show, and I think you're doing something right on your own end. So keep that up too.
Hear that, Tank? I'm doing something right. Screw you.
That, Tank. I told you that from the beginning, Mister. Oh my God, I didn't think we'd make it this far.
I really didn't. So
here we are.
So the thing is, I said we're doing charity. The charity we are donating to, once we go to this con, will be the Children's Hospital in Mississippi. Right. And I told our producer, which is the Bear and the Beard podcast, I told him I'd never thought I would be behind a table doing what you do, because I love what they do. And they're like, hey, come join us and do something better instead of, talking, I guess you could say. And we're like, yeah, let's do it. And I don't regret the show. Like, I even like every Sunday now, I look forward to doing it. And I'm not tired of it. Like, even if it's just me and Tank, we're two best buddies. I've known him 11 years. 11?
Yeah.
11 years. Yeah. Still not tired of it, and I hope that never goes away. Like, I really don't.
Well, I mean, it's like what he said earlier, and it's what I've told you plenty of times before. If you love what you're doing, you ain't gonna have a problem with it. The minute it starts feeling like work and you start dreading doing anything, like Shikamaru says, it's a drag. And I mean, you're not gonna enjoy it anymore, and there's really no point in doing it.
Yeah. That's awesome. By the way, Tom Gibbs is another great guy you guys should talk to.
We actually interviewed him.
You did?
If you go on our TikTok, we interviewed him for like 5 minutes because it was, it was a quick thing.
Yeah.
But he was so sweet. He was so nice.
That's great.
He I know this is gonna sound weird, but he had a very firm handshake. And my grandmother raised me to be like, you can tell a man by their handshake. That's just how she was, and that's how I am, unfortunately.
That's good. Good
and he was very nice about it. He's like, "Thank you so much," and we'll do a quick interview, and he told me some stuff about him. Like apparently he wanted to be a forest ranger, and I was like, I imagine that just me starting a fire. What a drag, But yeah, it was awesome. It was really awesome to have him. I wanted to go meet Brian Donovan, and I wanted to like talk to him as Lee and just be like, hey, you want to do an interview? But he was so swamped. I was just like, yeah, I'll just leave him alone.
Well, the right now we're all represented by a booking agent called Celebworks, which is like different than the voiceover agent. They sort of put us into cons and events and things like that. And they're trying right now. There's a joint up in Lodi, California, that's interested in having Tom, Brian, and me come up. And we're billing it the Nice Guy Tour because we're the three nice guys.
Awesome.
Oh, so what I'm hearing is y'all guys are the three nice guys, and Neil's the bad guy.
No, I didn't say it. I didn't say
it. I mean, technically, he did play a bad guy. So I mean, there's
I'm the bad guy. I'm a bad guy.
Well, he likes to try to read between the lines.
He technically Neil used you. And then our Madara used you, and then it's like, hey, time to repay back your debt, buddy.
Yeah, that's right.
But going back to some questions, let's. I'm gonna try to get off Naruto and try to stop being a fanboy here for a second. Now I know some of the stuff that you've done is Bjorn from the Christmas Chronicles. Yeah. How was that? How was that working over on that animated voiceover?
Well, it's funny you asked that. You asked before, which was, which is my favorite role. That's definitely one of my favorite ones. So those movies, the Christmas Chronicles and the Christmas Chronicles 2. So Kurt Russell plays Santa Claus, and Goldie Hawn, his wife, plays Mrs. Claus, and they have become sort of these beloved family movies that are on Netflix every year. And that in and of itself is great. But the super cool thing was that so I play an elf, this little elf called Bjorn. There are thousands of elves, but 5 or 6 of us kind of emerge, sort of like the Minions, where it's like 2 or 3 of them or 5 or 6 of them or whatever show up as being like the ones that are highlighted. So I'm one of them. I'm the chubby one that eats the candy canes and constantly gets in trouble. And the 5 of us kind of got to go into a famous soundstage on the Disney lot, and we're recording to record. And while we were there, they introduced us to the linguist who had created a whole language of Elven speak. And he was the same guy that made the languages for Game of Thrones. So like Dothraki and the other languages for Game of Thrones. This guy's fluent in Klingon. He created the languages for Game of Thrones, and he created these languages for us. And so he was in the room, and we learned a bunch of phrasings, and we learned, sort of like the general sound of the dialect or the accent. and then we had all of our lines that were translated both into regular English and Elvish, and it was just a really playful, fun day with really talented people and really smart people in a totally historic setting, recording something that was going to be, that we knew was going to be this big deal. And it was just super fun, and another really funny, kind of goofy character, the sound of which is not so different than Toby's. Detendiki Santish, is a line of his. I'm sorry, Santa. But that character actually was also, he was a float in the Macy's Day Parade, 2 years in a row. Yeah, so
Nice.
yeah, super cool, and so it's he's just a fun guy to get to do.
Just go to it and be like, look, that's me.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
that's me.
I unfortunately I was in Los Angeles. I wanted to go. That's my only beef, is that they didn't fly me back. They wouldn't pay for me to go back and do an appearance, but they I did watch it on TV and told everybody I could. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
It looks like from one of the downsides, first off, I guess I should ask, did you get to meet Kurt Russell?
No.
Yeah.
It's funny because in all the posters for that movie, it's me sitting on his shoulder. So it's like it feels like I did, but I never did.
Well, I feel like that's a downfall being a voice actor, is that you get to work with all these amazing actors and artists, and you don't ever get to meet them until 2 years down the way. Does that ever frustrate you, or no?
I mean, it's sort of it's par for the course. I'm used to it, but it's it is and in fact we don't get to meet each other at all. In that case, there wasn't a premiere because it was during COVID when it came out. So it was there wasn't a premiere for it. So that would have been the one opportunity, and even then, I don't know that they would have, made time to introduce me to Kurt Russell.
Right.
So, it's like it would be fun. Sometimes you do get, you're sort of, you're on a project that has a hero of yours in it, and you're, there is that sense of like, oh, it'd be so neat if I got to meet this person, but. It's also it's never, I'm never too disappointed. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. You've been doing this for 16 years. So if you had not gotten into acting or voice acting or anything, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
That's a great question. Two things. One is I really do love teaching, and teaching is very much a parallel career for me. So there's a good chance I would have just done that. But then I also, the thing I always, sort of fantasize about, a couple things. One is I did a lot of radio broadcasting. So like I was a sports, I would do play-by-play for the hockey team in college and all of that. And I thought for a while that might be something I'd like to do. I thought I'd give acting a try first, and it was like I was always doing just enough to keep me sort of stuck in that camp. But I thought I might want to go into sports journalism, and that I think would have been a fun thing. But then also, now that I'm getting older, I love doing sort of fix-it stuff around the house, and I would have loved to have been, a master carpenter or, a woodworker of some kind. I love working with wood. I love working with tools. I like the satisfaction of, getting my hands dirty and having something to show for it at the end of the day. And I've always been like that. I always have sort of like, I love landscaping. I love building. I love just that kind of labor. Makes me feel satisfied. So I think I could have done either one of those things probably and been pretty happy with it.
Just step back from a project like, I made that.
Yeah, totally.
I can dig it.
So actually, I speaking of woodwork, I actually used to make swords out of wood all the time. Um, and like sometimes I would do great, sometimes I would do horrible. I don't. It all depends. So it's definitely something that will keep your mind busy. Trust me, it will keep your mind busy. But yeah, it's definitely fun. It's definitely fun.
Yeah.
The next, I guess, two more questions, and
Let's do
that'll
it.
be it. That'll be it. So, how long did it take for you to quit? I guess your day job and go into acting and voice acting and stuff. Like, when did you know that this is it?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I've always this is all I've ever done. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, now the thing is, what acting looks like a lot of times, especially as you're getting started, is doing a couple different things at once. So I was, I was a bartender for a long time. I was, I've waited tables, of course. I the I have done like consulting work. I've led improv workshops for business people, and that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Sort of there's a host. There's like a whole sort of a bucket of side gig jobs that actors tend to have, and I've probably had all of them. Um, but that was part of one of the things I really wanted to do when I went back to graduate school was set myself up so that I could always do exactly I could always be involved. I could always be working in the process of creating art, creating entertainment. Um, and so I went back to grad school in 2002, um, and and really starting right away. I finished in 2004, and right from the moment I stopped school to now,
Yeah.
um, I sort of made it my mission to only do jobs like supplemental jobs that were related to the field. So they don't feel like day job kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
that's where teaching came in. And I just started doing it. And I don't look at it as a side job or a day job. I look at it as, again, like it's a parallel career that works symbiotically with my work as an artist. So it's, uh, I've been fortunate enough. It's a marathon, like we were talking about earlier. It's just like if you're in a sprint and it turns out to be a marathon, you're in trouble. So I
Hmm.
saw right away this is a marathon, and I got to try to figure out different ways that are going to help me do it and keep my head on straight and make me happy and give me some satisfaction, even when there's a lot of disappointment, which there is. There is an awful lot of disappointment in this job.
Yeah.
Um, so I needed to be giving back to other people in order to not get so focused on how I was feeling, because it's pretty easy to have a pity party, in a hurry. So,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
so yeah, the short answer is I think I've always kind of done. I feel like I have always just been doing this. At the same time, uh, the you know I started doing well as an actor commercially, somewhere around, I don't know, 96 or so, way back then. And, was fortunate enough to make enough money, strictly speaking, that I could stop waiting tables. But then I really did take a look around and sort of just, is it just about making a living? Do I like what there's something more I think I can contribute here. And so that's when I decided to go back to grad school in 2002. And I guess if I had to put a finger on it, that would probably be the turning point for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, last question. Will you follow us?
Yeah. Am I
Okay.
not following you now?
I don't think so. But you can
Where's
do
my
that.
phone?
You can do that whenever you like. No rush.
At Hesitation Station?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
I want to do it right now. I've never logged into Instagram from my computer.
We're on everything. I had people be like, "Oh, I don't use Facebook. That's for old people." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll make an Instagram." "Oh, I don't use Instagram. It's too stupid." I'm okay. I'll make a TikTok. So I just covered everything.
We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and I think we're gonna be up on YouTube
shortly.
Yeah, not too long from now.
All right, cool. Well, it's not letting me log in right now, but I will.
You're fine.
Yes, I will. I thought I had followed you back already, but if I haven't, then yes, I will. I will do it.
Okay, you're fine.
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are my three big ones. So
can I ask one request?
Yeah.
Just feel free to say no. I'm entirely okay with that. We've far exceeded my expectations so far. Would it be possible to get Obito to tell people to follow the Hesitation Station?
Absolutely. You ready?
Love you right now.
Look at me! There's nothing in my heart. I don't feel pain any longer. There's no need for you to feel guilty, Kakashi. Just follow the Hesitation Station on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and anywhere else you might find it. You said I'll never let my comrades down. You said that! Those were your words. Look at them and say them again. I said try to say those words again!
That was awesome, dude.
Chill.
Hell yeah.
Chill.
Okay.
If you want
to shout out your socials, that way people can follow you as well.
Yeah, sure. Feel free. So I am at Michael Yurchak on Instagram, at Tobito Voice on TikTok, and that's it for now. And keep your eyes open. There's a charity app that I work for called Who Farted, which is it's raising money for orphans in Ukraine right now, and a couple of other worthy causes. And then there's a show called My Adventures with Superman coming out on Adult Swim on Cartoon Network, hopefully in the next few months. So keep your eyes open for that, and Bungo Stray Dogs, and buy the new Naruto game, and see you out there at a con one of these days too.
Send an email to Jay with all of that in there, and we'll get that added to all the flyers we put out for this episode.
Oh, great. Yeah, we'll do.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being on with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
It's really great to see you. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it a lot.
Well, Jay, you got anything else on us, bud?
I'm good.
All right. Well,
all right.
knock us
Peace
out.
And love you guys. See
you
later,
man.
Bye-bye.
Great.
Bye-bye. All right. Well, that was the episode with Michael Yurchak, the voice of Obito Uchiha, and a lot more stuff. More stuff. That was amazing. That was amazing. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just like Obito said, follow us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We're on all that. We would love the support. Any support we have, we are very grateful for. Tank, do you have anything else you want to say?
Man, that was a most phenomenal episode.
Absolutely,
really
dude.
Enjoyed having him on here. Look forward to everything we do in the future. And as always, man, it's been a blast.
Yep, absolutely agree, man. Well, hope to see y'all next week. Peace.
Deuces.
Attention passengers, this is your conductor speaking. We are departing the Hesitation Station. Please stand clear of the closing doors.